Alright, just to start off, there is going to be sort of a warning here for any of our younger viewers that this isn't kids-related stuff. And I'm not saying it's not kids-related as in I'm going to be talking differently. I mean that the show, much like when we addressed Rocky Horror with Movie Mondays, the show itself is not for kids. So any kids watching, get off right now. Because trust me, you think you may like what we're going to talk about, but you discover you don't get half the jokes. You don't understand the genius until you get a lot older. So come back when you're a little bit older. I don't know how old you might be now, but just come back later when you can appreciate the genius a little better. Then you'll understand why everyone loves this show, because this show is great. And we're going to dive right into it. So, hello, fellow cartoon fanatics. It's RJ, and I am running off of not a lot of sleep and not a lot of food because I stayed up last night watching the most recent episode of Rick and Morty. So exciting to start. So exciting that we have this show back in our eye holes after, gosh, how long was the hiatus? You know what? I don't even remember, and I don't want to remember because the blessing of that first episode on April Fool's was beautiful, and now we get the whole rest of the season. And it's gonna get dark. It's gonna get dark. I actually don't know if it's gonna get dark, but hey, it's crazy. It's amazing. McDonald's may actually also be bringing back the Szechuan McNugget sauce. We know that Justin Roiland and Alex Hirsch got their hands on some of it. Very jealous of them right now. Come on, guys. You need to learn how to share. Knowing who they voice on cartoons, they're probably not very good at sharing. So, enough of sort of the side stuff of the build-up to this point. Let's actually go and talk about the episode. And we saw a lot of different episodes to expect in this upcoming season within the promos. So this one in particular, this one was sort of like a Mad Max Fury Road ripoff, which was awesome. The designs were super cool. I remember before the episode came out, I watched a little behind the scenes stuff, and they were talking about how they wanted the whole thing to look like this dominatrix apocalypse, and yeah, that's pretty much what it looked like. So nice work. It was just blood and dominatrix clothing. You achieved your goals there, team. It's pretty crazy. And well, obviously it's so fast paced, but there's a ton of hidden jokes in there related to those outfits. If you were to stop the episode and take a look at some of them, there's some crazy stuff in there. So it's pretty fun if you want to go ahead and get a look at that. I didn't. I actually managed to watch it on Adult Swim this week. I was so happy for once in my life I could actually watch it on the TV instead of having to go online like a couple hours later to hunt it down, which that's good. If you can, watch the shows on the channels they're supposed to be on, because then the people that make them get the support they need. But if you're like me and get stuck with your computer with no other solution, then, well, there you have it. But anyway, let's move back to the episode. Like I said, it was Mad Max Fury Road style, and boy, is Summer taking a bigger part of the story now. She jumped right all on it, but this was mostly focusing, from what I could tell, on Summer and Morty's feelings between Beth and Jerry's divorce. We see at the beginning of the episode, Jerry's kind of packing up stuff, and he's just standing in the driveway trying to talk to them, but he's not allowed inside the garage. So it's like this super awkward moment where he's trying to say goodbye to them, and Summer's like, yeah, whatever, see you later. And Morty's like all distraught, and he's also super confused because Jerry's kind of clinging around when he probably shouldn't be clinging around. So the whole point of the Mad Max Fury Road style episode is Summer and Morty dealing with these divorce feelings. Summer just goes all out, man. She was vicious. She's in front. She's not freaked out or scared. She was just awesome in this. And Rick himself even was like, man, Summer, you're doing great. Morty, why don't you be more like Summer? So, and based on the promos we've seen too, I'm hoping there's going to be a lot more adventures that's Rick, Morty, and Summer. All three of them. That looks like it's going to be pretty exciting, and definitely huge character development from when Summer and Rick went on that one adventure, and Rick pretty much said, you shouldn't be here the whole time. So it's nice to see some character development, quote unquote, question marks. So yes, Summer, she was pretty much going wild. she she falls for this bucket head dude, this guy with the bucket head, and underneath the bucket, he's just got a perfectly normal face with like this wanky mustache. I'm sure that mustache was a reference to something, but I was too tired to really figure it out. I'll look it up later, but it was pretty funny. She just was all over that guy. And meanwhile, Morty gets like this giant arm Morty, through this serum that Rick puts in him as a distraction. Because Rick at first wants to leave the dimension, but then he sees this super powered cell creature thing, and he's like, nope, wait, we gotta get that. Morty, you're a distraction. And of course, Morty's the distraction, and he kind of goes a little violent because the arm that Rick switched with Morty's turns out to be this arm that's seeking for bloodlust and vengeance. And at first, Morty is not okay with that at all, but then he really gets into the bloodlust part because it's like him venting out his frustrations about his parents' divorce. So he and Summer actually want to stay in the dimension. That was interesting. Rick actually left them there for a while. He was like, fine, if you guys don't want to leave, then I'll just leave. I got a ton more Summers and Mortys that I can get. So he tries replacing them with robots around Beth and covering it up. And Beth, she kind of suspects it. She doesn't really, though, but she feels something is slightly off. But Rick can't stand it. He can't stand the uncomfortableness. So he goes back to get them, but then he just replaces himself with another robot. So Beth's surrounded by all these robots for about 3 weeks or so, and she doesn't even notice. Oh man, poor Beth. I'd love to see Beth on an adventure. That would be something. I mean, I have no clue if that's in the lineup, but that would be really interesting to see if she went on one of their adventures. But it's good enough that we got Summer along for the ride for now. I'll take what I can get. It's been a while. We're just gonna take what we can get right now because the episodes do not disappoint. But Rick goes back to get Summer and Morty, and at this point, Summer's like completely head over heels with Bucket Dude, and Morty's arm finally seeks his revenge. And sort of in this weird way, Morty realizes that he's not coming to terms with his parents' divorce. And like the giant arm attached to him that had to seek his revenge to get some closure, Morty realizes he also needs to find closure within himself and move on. Because it's not going to go away. It's not really something he can fix. It's something he has to come to terms with, his feelings, and be able to move on from them. And that was a very, actually, lesson-fulfilling moment in the show. I mean, I don't know how many shows address divorce, but who knew? Rick and Morty would be the one to kind of address it in a very creative yet somewhat very relatable way. So there you go, folks. That's Rick and Morty in a nutshell. You may sometimes learn about how to deal with your feelings, but most of the time it's just silly gag. But yeah, so Morty deals with his emotions, the arm goes away, now that the arm sort of fulfilled his vengeance quest. And then Rick actually gives the apocalyptic guys, he explains, oh, this thing is like a huge power generator, you can advance your civilization. So they actually stay in the dimension for 3 weeks, like I mentioned, while Beth is stuck with all their robots. Summer marries the Buckethead guy, and it doesn't end well. So they just all leave, and then they end up back at the house, and everything's quote-unquote back to normal, with the exception of Jerry. Jerry, who seems to be getting subliminal messages about something or other. Like, the moment he left, when he was in the driveway, there was a whisper, and then when he was at his new place in this apartment complex, and he was trying to get his mail, and there was this whole bit with the dog, which I'm not going to spoil because that was pretty funny. But then there was a whisper again. I didn't actually pick up what the whisper was saying, but it seems like that might be a theme throughout this season. Whatever that is, that's going to be important. I'm going to guess right there. That whisper that's whispering to Jerry in the wind, that's going to be important. I don't know if it's real or if it's some quote-unquote villain that's going to try and get Jerry on their side, although I have no clue what an evil Jerry would exactly accomplished for some sort of bad guy. And in short, well, that's pretty much the whole episode right there. I've obviously scanned over a lot of the jokes. I just kind of talked about the main storyline here, but man, gosh, I don't want to spoil all the jokes for you guys. I mean, it's Rick and Morty. That you gotta experience that. That's something you gotta experience. You just can't You just can't listen to it from a reviewer. You gotta experience it. I feel like I've said experience about 3 times at this point. Well, maybe 4 now. But once again, very humorous, quick-witted, just the kind of greatness we expect from Rick and Morty. And this season is gonna be the darkest yet! Well, supposedly it's gonna be the darkest. It certainly seems that there is something going on, and the creators have mentioned before this season began to air that they were actually focusing on sort of more arcs, not in sense of an overall arc in a season, but they were actually focusing on arcs and not just one-off episodes all the time. They did say there were going to still be one-off episodes, but we're actually going to get more arcs in this show, which is exciting. I like arcs. I like coherent stories. So it's exciting. I can't wait to see what's going to come up next. It sounds like next week is finally going to be Pickle Rick. We've been talking about Pickle Rick. I think Pickle Rick's got merchandise already, man. I'll show this. Yeah, I'll put up a picture of the Mall of America merchandise I saw while I was there. Yep, a whole thing, a whole display window. They know what's up, man. So, I'm gonna look forward to all of that. I can't wait. And also, just back to the Whisper. That was just really interesting. That's gonna be on my mind for a while. I'm sure a lot of theories are gonna go nuts over that. Yo, Mad Pat, get on that Whisper thing. I know you never caught up with Gravity Falls, but you have a chance with Rick and Morty, man. They're connected. Just go for it. Go for it. Do the research for us. We know you have it in you. So, if you liked this episode, go ahead and put a thumbs up and press that like button once again. And also, if you want to add more, if you'd like to see more Cartoon Corners, make sure to comment and subscribe as well. At the moment, we've got Cartoon Corners on Steven Universe and on the Battle of Muni from Star vs. the Forces of Evil. But now with the new season of Rick and Morty, I can guarantee you there's going to be a lot more Rick and Morty Cartoon Corners coming up. So get ready to get Schwifty. And I will see you guys next week. Man, that Whisper. Oh my gosh, what if the Whisper was Bill Cipher? Guys, what if it was Bill Cipher? Please tell me it's Bill Cipher. I want that so bad.